What is up, everybody? Hope all is well. Hope all is well. Hope all is well. Listen, hopefully you are prepared for tonight. We are going to have a very, very interesting conversation. Listen, let me see if you're in the comments. Okay, listen, make sure you like, share. Everybody is here. Everybody and a mom of them is here. So just say hello, everybody.
Hey.
Hey,
I'm Mama Nick.
So listen, so we got a great conversation. Culture problems. Listen, make sure you share the video. Wherever you are, share the video. I know it's late, but you know how we do. Late at night, early in the morning, evenings. So we're going to go around the room and we're going to talk about this. Hey, y'all. Hey, Auntie Deb. What's up, y'all? Silent treatment. What's up, everybody? Let me know where you're from in the comments. Wait a minute. Can y'all see the... Oh, okay. Y'all, we're having a little technical difficulties in the living room. That's okay. Everybody's here. Let me see. Oh, hey, Reese. What's going on, daughter?
A lot of different angles. That's what I look like from that angle.
So listen, y'all. So we're going to talk about tonight culture problems. And let me make sure I'm looking at the camera. Okay, so we're talking about culture problems, whether it's religion, sex, what nationalities, countries, where you're native to, whatever the case may be. So this is going to be a real conversation that stemmed from a birthday party. So this is going to be really good. Hopefully you all are prepared. Hey, Darius. Hey, brother. What's up, Tony? Hey, everybody. Okay, I got Louisiana in the building, Austin, Texas. So listen, put your comments down there below. If you guys have any questions, please, somebody text me. Y'all know who you are. Make sure y'all text me and let me know what's going on, because I have my phone on Do Not Disturb, okay? So tonight we're going to be talking about culture problems and whatever that may be, but we're going to talk about how the bullshit has affected us in what way, shape, form, or fashion. So anyways, we're going to go around the room and let's see. Let's start. I'll start on my left, your right. So let's all introduce ourselves and let's go from there. So starting here, and we're going to work our way this way.
all right.
Wait, can you? Okay, y'all go ahead and talk on the mic.
Thrown to the wolves.
Oh, so you want to pull up or just want
Pull the mic up a little bit. Don't be scared of the mic. Don't be scared of the mic.
Ooh, the rock the mic.
Well, I'm Jasmine.
Hey, Jasmine girl.
Oh, just happy to be here.
It's good.
I'm Marvin. The outside.
Okay.
I'm glad to be here too in the conversation. I hope it's gonna be a deep one. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. Moving right along, let's go to.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dominique. I'm going to project a little bit, even though I'm
Put it.
just a little older. Hey. Hi, I'm Dominique, and I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk about things. I'm nervous, so that's why I'm smiling so much. But it's cool. We here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Cadin. I'm your local light-skinned nigga who so happens to be Puerto Rican. I'm so excited to be here. These lovely people. I'm sipping on something a little strong, so pardon me if I get a little loud.
Sip away.
Sip, sip, sip.
Okay, well, you guys know me. I am your host, always the beloved King. So anyways, tonight is going to be great. How did we start this conversation off?
I guess we just jump straight into it.
Yeah. We are bringing good religion.
Okay, so it depends on what we want to talk about. Like, where do you want to start off?
We can go anywhere.
How about
Because actually we were talking about we I don't know how we got here, but remember we were talking about how in different countries just the rules and stuff like that. And a lot of times how it just stems with religion doesn't have anything to do with the culture of the people. It's just sometimes just surrounded by the religion. So and then even with the ladies in their dresses and you can't wear wigs and things. It's just so much. So
how about we start with come as you are?
come as you are.
Child, you know they don't mean that shit.
Whoa, okay.
Okay, let's do come as you are. Okay.
That's you wanna go down?
I've never heard that growing up in my church.
You've never heard that?
No, it was never come as you are. It's come as we tell you. There is no. There is not. There is
That's an
no.
unspoken rule. Right?
If they were like, oh no, you can't show up looking like this because one of the elders is going to address you. Like they're going to tell you like you look kind of crazy. Why you showed up and your skirt is like over here? Why you looking at my skirt though? I'm 12. Like that's like those are my questions I had asked them, but y'all can go ahead and talk. I'm sorry. That's funny.
Well, I did come from a church that was very much come as you are. A Southern Baptist background, but it's very much a come as you are environment, but it was never meant that way. Like everyone seems like you're friendly on the surface, but there's always a lot of judgment, a lot of talking, to the point where I don't think people ever really truly feel welcome. And so come as you are to me never really carried any weight in terms of a message that was being sent.
So do you think it was something just to make you feel good? Just to draw you in?
Yes.
And once you get in, it's like you put on what the fuck I tell you to put on.
Yeah.
A light hug, and a nice come as you are, and maybe a little hot meal. And
So okay, what denomination did you grow up in?
other
Southern Baptist. Interesting.
I wish my church said that for
it was a little more rigid.
If somebody was wearing denim, like the whole entire church will look at you. Like it's like you walk in the door and everybody's eyes, because it's a small church.
Yeah.
So we know everybody personally. They will all look to the door and be like, "Why are you wearing that? Like, are you okay?"
The come as you are is definitely, I used to call it the walk of shame. So knowing me, I kind of resented going to church on Sundays, but I did it anyway because, my mom was very religious, and all the kids had to go to church. So I always try to be tardy a little bit, but being tardy led to the walk of shame. Come as you are. My mom didn't believe in that. Had to be something different every Sunday. You know me, t-shirt and shorts always. I don't care what I wear. My mom would be at church to open the church, but if I come late, I gotta walk through the hallway, right in the middle between the whole congregation instead of the front. And I come as you are, is everybody's just looking at you and you can feel it. And my mom would be looking at me, shaking her head like, And she point to the front. Yeah, sit up there. You know what I'm saying? So that would be my walk of shame, or the come as you are. Other than that, I've seen how they treated other people who wear, like you said, denim, or anything that seems to be a little bit less, not skirt. And you know what I'm saying? Back in the day, you used to have like those shoulder with the big hats.
Oh, you're talking about the shoulder pads, the church hats.
That was
the
it.
church
My mom had the matching set.
Oh yeah.
Different Sundays, but when people came in with literally what they had, I would see the disgust on some of their faces low key. And I was a kid, I was a people watcher, heavily people watcher, and I like different facial expressions and how people say stuff, but their faces reveal different things. And I realized this come as you are thing was actually a facade. And I was like, y'all calling yourself Christians, this is a flaw. You know what I'm saying? So I always noticed that. Wasn't big of a talker, but I love to watch people and the church people. The faces gave so many things away compared to what they were preaching. So I come as you are, is a definite scare for me whenever I go to church. But when I came to America, that "come as you are" actually upheld because I didn't have to. I could wear a t-shirt and shorts. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have to wear any dress clothes and anything like that. I wasn't getting shade being brought on me, all those eyes being watched, and that linked to my mom. She'd be like, "You're making your kid come like this? Wait, what's up with the church clothes?" It was a lot.
And you know, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
And you know, I did not grow up in a religious home. I didn't. My mother always believed that it should be like our choice if we wanted to get involved with that. So no sooner than when I got the age that I could just stop going and I only showed up for the meals. That's beside the point. But the thing is, when it came to the whole come as you are situation, I've always seen it like I've seen it interpreted different ways. Like you have the physical, and then you actually have like I've also heard it interpreted as, you know, even if you have like issues or, you know, if you feel like you may have sinned a lot, or if you feel like you may be the most sanctified person on this planet, come as you are, we accept all are welcome here, which we all know really isn't the case. If you so happen to fall outside of that demographic that the church is dedicated to, i.e. queer individual, me, I'm a queer individual. So, you know, it's just really interesting seeing how that gets interpreted, like from each different section of whatever denomination that you're from. Either way, I just feel like it depends on the colloquial sense of how you use it.
Like, I don't know. Like when they say come as you are, like when they're talking about your internal problems, that like you coming with your truth, you being 1000% yourself, you know, authentically you, and then you have the whole entire congregation looking at you and telling you that you're wrong. Like, you can't be like that. That what your thoughts are, like how you feel, who you are as a person, how you process things, how you process your emotions. It's wrong, and you shouldn't be that. And this is what you're supposed to be. This is how you're supposed to be. Like this rigid. This is how you're supposed to be. Like God, you're supposed to be like Jesus. But if Jesus.
Now you're Haitian, right?
Yes, I'm Haitian.
So how is that in your culture?
You're not like, it's very discouraged to challenge authority. So like sometimes my pastor would say some wild stuff and I would question it. And then everybody in the congregation would look at me like I'm crazy.
So okay,
because I asked the question.
So you actually had a chance to.
I would, because I'm confused. Like if I'm confused.
So you could stop the service.
I would stop the service. I would be like, well, I don't get what you're saying. Can you like really explain? And they're like, well, you're not supposed to do that. But I'm like, how am I supposed to learn?
And see, that kind of goes back because I remember we talked about this a while back about slavery and how like religion was used to control people. So it was just like, these are the words. Don't worry about how to interpret it. Don't worry about understanding it. Just worry about how I'm telling it to you. Because this is what I want you to do. You even see that reflected in a lot of the parenting styles of like, I could argue all of our parents.
Do as I say, not as what you see.
Yeah, it really is like an echo from that. Like this whole slave master mentality. Organized religion gets my nerves because of that.
I don't know. There's like, I like it. It's a love-hate relationship that I have with it. Like, I grew up with this, so it's like, it feels like home. But at the same time, it's like, damn, I don't like going home. So,
so okay, as a female, like, what is it like in your environment or in Haiti with, because like in Haiti, the religion there is predominantly Catholic, and in Jamaica too, correct?
Yes.
Predominantly Catholic. My mother grew up uber Catholic. My dad grew up Catholic too, but then they transitioned into Seventh-day Adventist. That was their own journey.
Oh yeah, we was.
And like, but my mom, she knew all the prayers. She was rigid. Like she would go to mass during the week. Like she was like that. So after that, she was like, she found God, and she said that, you know, Seventh-day Adventist, like being an Adventist, that's what her home was, and that's how she wanted to raise her kids. But she didn't allow us to explore on our own. And I didn't grow up Catholic, so actually I was baptized Catholic, but I don't really have memories of like going to mass and stuff like that, so I can't speak on that. But being Seventh-day Adventist, it's a whole different kind of rigid. Like they're evangelical Christians.
So how are you evangelical and Seventh-day Adventist?
No, they would fall under the evangelical
Christianity.
So we would be the people, like we would go out and we like try to preach the words to people. We would go and knock on doors.
Have you done that?
Really?
Yes, I had like growing up. I was one knocking on doors, trying to convert people, trying to tell us
Like
the
Jehovah's
word.
Witness?
Kind of like that, yeah.
Bro, who's the person I was slamming on my doors on?
Yes, probably. It builds up confidence. I feel like that's something every child has to grow up learning. You get rejected by random people every single day. Like, it builds character. So I don't.
So rejection builds your. Wow.
That's how I like to look at it. But yeah, like we had certain rules. Like we had strict diets. We had strict rules when it used to like worshiping on Saturdays instead of Sunday. We would have to be very modest. That's something that I grew up like. You couldn't really dress any kind of way. Anything skin tight, that's like a no-no. Anything that shows your legs is a no-no. Like even sometimes, like it depends on how extreme your family is. So some people, they cover their head when they're going to the church. Some people don't. So it's like a lot of the times you don't do a lot of work on Saturday. So
they consider that the Sabbath.
It's the Sabbath. So yes, on the Sabbath, like sundown to sundown, no work, which means no cooking, no TV, no electronics, whatever that means to your family. That's what you have to abide by.
No sex.
So,
What?
None of that. No sex, no nothing, no
I'm
judgment.
dropping forward.
So you have
Kelly,
to respect the Sabbath. You have to be humbled and be like open to the Lord's presence, so you can receive His blessings on that day. You would have to open the Sabbath with a prayer and hymnals and things like that. But I grew up with all of that, and then slowly I faded away from it because it didn't really resonate with me as much as it did my parents. I still respect them. I still respect the religion, but I don't feel like it's my own. I feel like I'm exploring on my own and trying to build my own relationship with God. But I don't know. It's Ellen G. White. If you have read any of her texts, that's kind of wild.
So just a quick question. So everybody in here, what did you grow up as and where are you now? So, Cadin.
Religiously?
Oh.
Huh?
Religiously?
No. Just overall,
Okay.
like whether it's religion, how are you with your culture?
Okay.
Where are you in your mindset now?
So
Because I can tell you where I'm at. Sure.
So, I mean, if you haven't gathered from what I have spoken on earlier, I question a lot of stuff. I grew up doing that. My mother encouraged us to be very curious. Growing up, at least on my father's side of the family, who was Black or African American, they're very much Baptist on that side. What kind of Baptist? I'm not sure. I didn't know them all that well. On my mother's side, you saw a little bit of that. There were some Baptist people that were over here, and then also were Catholics. Also have some of my family members that practice Santeria too. So it was very much mixed when it came to religion. Growing up, I think where I got the most exposure was the Baptist world, because my aunt used to take me to church with her. Me and my sister make a stand up for the full duration of the service. Yeah, you can see why I don't go now. But I mean, I feel like there was a lot of good lessons that came out of it. To me, I always consider like the Holy Book to be like a book where you're supposed to take lessons from, not so much take it literal. But as far as where I'm at now, I would say I'm agnostic. I believe in a higher power. I believe in having a relationship with whoever that you pray to. But I don't necessarily believe in organized religion and what it has caused, because it's been a means of controlling people. We have seen this throughout history and even now. And I don't like that shit. So, I kind of disconnected from it because it wasn't serving me, kind of like what Dominique said, at least from that world. But yeah, that's where I am religiously. I like to call myself a heathen of sorts. It's all in good jokes, though.
You got it.
Oh, me? Yeah. Okay. Well, reiterate. I grew up Seventh-day Adventist. I went to church like 3 to 4 days a week. So Saturday night, Sunday mornings, Friday night, probably Wednesday too. I looked through the church. We had children's choir. We did I was in the church. I was in the church. So,
Girl.
yeah. Yeah, they didn't listen to me. They didn't value what I had to say as a person, as a woman. They didn't really care about me personally. They just cared that I was physically in the building. So I left.
That makes sense.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah.
I'm stretching.
Not you stretching.
Yeah, I'm stretching.
Yeah, get that stretch. So, I grew up Southern Baptist, baptized at 7.
I haven't been baptized so many times. I don't know what kind of sense.
Now, I remember at the time I was thinking I just went up in children's church and they said you want to be saved and I said yes. And I went to a little program, Discovery, and we get baptized. Anyway, you know the deal. But so grew up Southern Baptist, also went to school at that church, so going to chapel on Fridays, very immersed in that background. Also, I used to elect to go more often in high school. So like
she said some girls in the church had some very strong whole spirit.
It's me. I'm some girls at church. I have strong whole spirit.
I mean,
Not the lead, the hoe. The hoe.
that's another story.
Hoes need love too. That's what Jasmine Sullivan said.
Listen,
yeah, I
whores
used to-
make great housewives.
I used to be up there all the time for praise dancing. I used to put on that face paint and do the mimes.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I did you tell that one story about that?
They do
Yeah.
the face paint and do the mimes.
Oh yeah. Choir, all that stuff. So when I went to, but it was that's another story. But then I went to college. It was in a very different environment. I was just kind of missing church, and a friend, she took me to a church nearby. It's non-denominational. And so after that experience, I was like, if I ever go to churches again, I would like to just go to non-denominational churches. And so even today, I do go to service. I'll attend like a service at a non-denominational church. The one based out in Gainesville, like I was in a virtual service. But these days, after just a lot of reflection and I think a lot of tension with me in my home church, I consider myself agnostic, spiritual, and then I just like to attend service when I'm comfortable and want to take something from it.
That's what's up. I grew up the Seventh-day Adventist. No, sorry, my bad. I grew up with Seventh-day Adventist friends, but I was Church of God, and I kind of jumped around from congregation to congregation because I was the youngest in my family, and my mom kind of had the say in the pool in terms of where I went. When my mom's church, she changed church, I went with her. I went to my original church. I was just jumping congregation. I was doing VBS, choir, all those good stuff. But like I said, I didn't speak much, but I observed. I realized a lot of hypocrisy going on, and I didn't ask questions because that was taboo. So I kept them to myself. And as I went on, I realized like this shit kind of fake. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa!
The people were kind of fake. And I told my mom at this point in age, because if I said it younger, I would get smacked for that.
Just
Yeah. But I told her to her face straight up, like, yo, those people are hypocrites. They're fake. I don't believe in them. I believe in God, and I believe in what I pray for, and the religion, but the organized religion, the congregation, were a bunch of fake people. I didn't want to be around them. So
She didn't like that.
she didn't like that. No. She said you go there not for people, but for God. And I said, why can't I just do that at home? You know what I'm saying? Anyways, fast forward, came to America. I realized I went to church a couple times, and then it became all about school. And then I asked myself, what's the difference between a man in the mountains that has a Bible and reads every day and prays every day, and a man who lives in the city that reads every day and prays every day and goes to church? Is one more Christian than the other? My mom couldn't answer. So I realized they're the same level of Christian, both do good deeds and no evil and spread the word. So internally I said, I don't need to be in a church. I can just read my Bible and pray to God on my own. And this is where I kind of came to the point. At that point in time, I just stuck to myself, read my Bible, have my little devotion, and then went about my day. Because at the end of the day, it's between me and God and between me and people.
Absolutely.
I'm just a spiritual man that reads his Bible. I guess I don't know, put that in the category.
So culture-wise, because you're from Jamaica, you're from Haiti, you're Puerto Rican,
Puerto
you're black,
Rican. Yeah.
Peter,
and you're just
I am
Just Negro.
Yeah.
Regular
Regular
Negro.
Black American. Like my grandma's from Alabama, the other one's from country, North Florida. Like, yeah.
Okay.
Technically, regular black ain't even like regular black, because everyone else around the world considers African Americans to be very different. So,
Regular to the States.
regular to the States.
Yeah.
I don't want to like
Been here
just
for a while, so
throw my
y'all-
little stuff because I'm.
Oh, yeah.
This is just based. I'm the host, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to just dominate the whole conversation.
Come on.
But you know, honestly, growing up, Black American, African American, Native American, whatever, you grow up in church, and it's always if you don't do this, you don't do that, you're going to hell. So for me, it was always. Do I need to put the camera on me? I guess so. I'm sexy. So it was always if you don't do something, God's gonna get you, you're going to hell. And everything was hell driven. I don't like that. Let me put on somebody else.
Come on.
So it was always hell driven, and it was you always had that consciousness of if I do something, I'm going to hell. I remember even being in elementary, when my mom was married to my baby brother's father, he was playing blues in the car, and I was like, turn it off. I want to go to hell. And everything was geared towards I don't want to go to hell.
Yes.
And so I believe in the Black culture, it's if you do anything outside of the confines of church, you're hellbound. If you do anything or listen to R&B blues, you're going to hell. And I'm like, didn't God, the older I got, I was like, didn't God create all of this stuff? The birds, the bees, the music, the beats. Like, so why would he create something and I'm gonna go to hell for enjoying it? But I'm like, I know we have to be disciplined, but like, I mean, I can't give me a little sip of the wine, you know what I'm saying? I can't get a little drink, The Bible said don't be drunken. I ain't drunk. I feel a little tip, but I ain't drunk. But it's always that edge of you're living in fear.
Yeah.
You can't go enjoy your life because you're so conscious of dying and going to hell. It's like, well, doesn't the Bible say I come that you might have life and that more abundantly?
And I think that's the issue. And that was very much my experience growing up in the church, because even from a very young age, you kind of completely base your experience around not wanting to go to hell, like you said. And so it's to the point where in youth group we're watching videos of like visual depictions of what hell looks like, and with our pastor. And
I believe it's control.
And I think that's the root of it. The root of it is to instill a fear that makes you not want, like a fear so deep that you've grown up with, so it just feels foreign to you that you don't want to do something. You don't want to question anything because that would mean like eternal damnation. And so whether there's never this focus on building a relationship with God or, what it means, what that means for you, what it means to feel spiritually at peace and at one with God. Instead, you're just constantly focused on this avoidance of hell and being seen as damned, which is odd in a faith that's based around forgiveness.
Very odd indeed.
I never understood that part. Like, growing up, the first thing they taught us about was hell. Like, they really described it. It was like out there, they was giving you pictures. They're going to be like, you're going to burn for a long time. You're going to burn as much as you send on earth. Like, okay. But then they would say God is a forgiving God in the same breath. Right? So after a while,
It's a love-hate thing.
I stopped believing them. I stopped believing them about hell. I was like, okay, well, if it's that bad and God is a forgiving God, eventually He's gonna forgive me and I'm gonna stop burning. Like, if I'm down there, if I'm here, or whatever that means to be in hell. Like, if I'm gonna burn eternally, whatever eternally means to Him is a different timeline for me, because they also said that God lives by a different timeline. His second is not your second. right?
A thousand,
So
a
it's
thousand years is a day with God.
Exactly. So if I'm burning for eternity, then it can't be that long. So I had to rationalize myself out of that.
Is that what
Because if we live in our whole lives afraid to go to hell, and we're pretending, like, you want to live godly, but a lot of people are being hypocrites and they're pretending to be godlike so that they can make it. But then they say even a poor man can make it to heaven before a rich man does. So what does that mean for everybody? I was like, I'm just not gonna worry about it. If I go to hell, I do. If I don't, I don't. But
I think you and I talked about it. It's gonna be a party or something.
it's gonna be fun. Like, it's gonna have to be.
Down there, Vogue family. But and see the whole, and I believe I told you this a while back. The whole idea of hell and how it's used to control people, was definitely something that was used within like the slavery times, because a lot of slaves would commit suicide. So literally, they came up with a way to prevent slaves from doing that, which was pretty much to give them this grand vision of what hell is like and what life would be like in the afterlife. And so treat this life like an audition for the afterlife. Be the best slave that you can be. Be the best person that you can be now. Be obedient. Don't kill yourself. Do all of these things. And when you die, you'll go to a better place. If you don't do those things, you'll end up in hell with all the rest of your fellow slaves and commit suicide. So, I mean, it's an echo from that. Hence why hell is emphasized so much within our culture, because literally our ancestors were taught that. Because literally our ancestors were taught that, because I can honestly say that is something very unique to the Black experience. Because me going into white spaces and going into like these places,
they don't be thinking about it.
That's not the first thing they're taught at all. If you go to a white church and a Black church, the concept of hell barely comes up over there. But you come over to our side of the world, and it's literally the first thing that you're taught.
Yeah.
So
I think it should be opposite.
For real, if anything, they are.
Yeah, and I think it kind of speaks to how like the Black experience is often structured around suffering, and so this idea that you should find righteousness in your suffering. So whether that's your suffering as a slave or your suffering like post-slavery, through all the issues Black people face, you're supposed to find righteousness in this suffering until you reach the end and you reach heaven. Whereas I think with more white-focused Protestant faith, you're getting more of a focus on work ethic and prosperity, and that's what's going to be gifted to you in this life. It's just a focus on hard work. And the hard work piece comes into the Black experience too. It's like your reward for hard work is just more suffering. And so what I also wish the Black church would focus more on was some of the theology that was taught during slavery, usually by like free Blacks, like this idea like a Black Jeremiah, where they were teaching that all the white people were going to go to hell because of all the suffering they were doing during slavery. Now that's not what trickled down.
I'll pull y'all mic up just a little bit. Just pull it.
Someone asked Black slaves committed suicide. Where is it documented? Oh, so there's actually documentation of slaves jumping off of ships because they refused to come over here. Yes, so there are actually a couple of ships that have been documented that some slaves literally jumped ship because they did not want to come over here because they feared what would happen to them. This became a really common issue. So they started pretty much going over to Africa and pretty much teaching with their missionaries the concept of hell and the concept of this particular religion. Because contrary to popular belief, our people did not go willingly. They were either sold by neighboring tribes that were there. There are receipts to prove this. But a lot of that was caused by a lot of these people from other countries pretty much pitting these tribes against each other, saying, listen, either you bring us people, give us people, or we're taking you. So in most cases, a lot of those tribes, they would capture them and then give them to them. So if anyone ever says, oh, the slaves, they sold each other, they didn't have a choice. So shoot that down. But either way, but yes, there is documentation of slaves doing that. Even when they got over here to the States, there are a lot of ledgers that document how many slaves actually killed themselves. You can look it up. Slave masters kept detailed records of that. So yes, if you're really curious about it, afterward I could probably point you in the direction of some articles and some ledgers. But yes, it's been well documented. I would encourage you to go and look it up. I saw that in the comments. So
but you know, if you watch Kunta Kinte, what was it? Roots. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. I got my ass whooped in 4th grade for watching Roots. And tell you what happened. So,
Are you in class?
huh?
In class?
Did I cuss?
No, did you watch it in class?
No, I was okay. We lived up north in Minnesota. So I had never seen anything like that. I never knew anything about, slavery, foolish. So, me personally, I'm dead serious. So me just popping in Roots as a little kid, and I just see all this slavery, and I'm like,
Literally,
and I'm traumatized, right? Because I'm like,
season 1.
I'm like, how can they do that?
Roots is a long movie. Like,
no, seriously. So while everybody's upstairs doing whatever, I'm in the basement watching Roots on a VHS. That lets you know how long ago it was. I'm not old though. I'm just saying, So I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, how could white people act like that towards black people? And as a child, I didn't know any better. So when I went to school the next day, I was completely fucked up. Like, I'm talking about, I was like, shit, putting my feet on the desk like, bitch, fuck y'all. Like,
that was me have to get out. That was seriously me have to get out. It just looks like, why are you doing that with the stop mixing your tea.
So then my teacher was like, DeMario, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, white woman, y'all the problem. I literally, my words, y'all put us in slavery. After I got through mouthing off and going off, I got a call. My mom got a call. I got my ass whooped.
Oh, Lord.
And nobody ever explained what all happened. I just got my ass whooped. And so it's like, you go through all this, and I'm like, I just watched Roots. That's what I did. I just watched Roots. And it was never an explanation of trying to understand, like, okay, Mario, what happened? Or why did you go to school acting like that? It was just, you going to school cutting up like that? You're not going to embarrass me. Got my ass whooped. So as I got older and I saw all this other stuff, I started looking at things differently because, what do we teach our children? If you embarrass me outside, when you get back home, get your ass tore up. And it's not to make everything about slavery, but it is that mentality of, if you go out and you embarrass me, when you get back, I'm gonna beat your ass right there. Well, slavery times was, where you cut up at, I'm gonna whoop your ass right there on the spot. Now that's what grandma used to say too. Wherever you cut up at, that's where I'm gonna get you at. And we never take the time to instill in our children conversations. No. Now, as a generation now, we love to talk. Like, we want to figure out what's going on, what's the problem. We love to sit down and talk, but we didn't grow up like that.
Yeah.
It was always, don't ask, don't tell. We just gonna eat and go on about our business. Yeah, they're right there.
That's the point.
Even if you saw something that wasn't right, you shut your mouth.
Yeah, and I hated that I'm bringing it back to this. All of that, literally, that stems deep from literally slavery. Like, literally, stuff like that was life or death for us. Mm-hmm. If you said anything, if you did anything, you could end up snatched up and brought to another plantation. Well, plantation. You could literally end up beaten and almost half dead if you stepped out of line for anything, if you questioned anything. Mm-hmm. And that kind of pretty much just carried over into all of our cultures. And it's become what it is now, which is pretty much do what I say, yada, yada, yada. Back then it was for survival, but we never escaped that.
I think you definitely see the examples of it, like, growing up. So, like, even both in my church, and then I went to a private school that was run by my church. Each class was like 10 kids, small space, and it's all Black. We had quiet lunches, so you couldn't talk. So imagine, like, all of elementary school, you're not talking during lunch. I didn't realize till I got to middle school, public school, that was not normal. You're just always constantly told to be quiet, constantly told to shut up. You're getting beaten with a paddle, a belt, a switch, an extension cord by teachers.
Is that an extension cord too?
Yes.
I got beat with a wet rag once.
If anybody.
Oh, you got what?
A wet rag.
Oh, yeah.
Got me in the shower.
Oh,
yes.
But see, but even when it comes down to like the disciplines,
it's a lot of times when I look back at it, the spankings, the beatings, it's because someone was talking too much or they were talking during class. So like things related to communication. So when you bring up communication to me, I feel like a lot of our generation was stunted early on in terms of how we communicate with each other. And you see it in all the things we struggle, which is healthy communication styles. But yeah, the discipline.
Really echo from the past.
Used to get beat.
No, like I remember getting in trouble with my mom because this other child, this white person named Latina child, was acting a fool in the grocery store. She was rolling on the floor and throwing a tantrum. And then my mama looked at me.
I wish you would.
She said, I wish you would. And then she proceeded to pinch me under my arm so the other people don't see. But I still got punished a little bit because the girl was acting a fool. And I'm like, but it wasn't me. So like, what if it was me? Like, what would happen then? You know? So fear. Fear is another thing that I was instilled with. I grew up with a lot of fear. Like, not even like if you spoke up to the wrong person, you can get beat. If you said something in the house that you was not supposed to say. You was talking about grown folk business outside when you was not supposed to know something. You can get beat for that. So it's like even asking for help that you need, or reaching out to people, getting mentors and things like that. I was stunted on that because I was not allowed to really,
Now, were you not allowed as a female or just as a child?
As a child, I don't think my mom. I feel like my mom did this. You might be right.
Because I'm telling you, boys growing up and females is just a little different.
I wasn't allowed to make a peep. Like I walked in, I was like, "Hello, sit down." If they offered me something, no, thank you. I could be dying of thirst if I accept the water. My mom would look at me crazy. So I would sit there in my little corner, just silent, and that's how I move, like a lot. So that's science thing.
I'm gonna play on your fear factor. Does anybody questions the pastor? Because I'm gonna tell you right now.
So you're about to go down a rabbit hole. I'm just gonna let you know right now.
Hold on. I'm not trying to talk about they got the pedophilia, all that going on in the background. What I'm gonna tell you is me going up, seeing the pastor, it was like that man was a medium. It was like he was. I saw him as a person. Like when the pastor goes into his office, I thought he had some magical telephone that talks to God and comes out and preaches to the congregation, because the way he was talking to the people and talking about the Bible, I'm like, how does he know these things? And I didn't read the Bible as yet because I was too young to even understand. I just knew the books in order because that's what they taught me in Sunday school. Know the books of the Bible, and they taught us some special, Psalms this, Exodus this, the special ones to make us behave as kids. But I was saying to myself, this man is a human being. Who's to say he's not wrong, right? And then I was saying, what makes him more special to be preaching to me? Why can't I go up there?
I got a clip I want all y'all to watch.
Yeah.
And I want to get y'all response. So.
Oh my Lord.
I'm excited. What are you gonna watch?
Because I'm turning these mics down a little bit.
Marvin, you're right. That thought has crossed my mind too.
Yeah, I just want to know what makes him so special. Is he that much of a media? Like, is he talking to God on a daily?
No, he's not.
No.
Out that Movado, you can buy a Movado watch in Sam's. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And y'all know I asked for one last year. Here it is the whole way in August. I still ain't got it. Y'all ain't saying nothing. Let me kick down the door and talk to my cheap sons and daughters. I don't want to hear no more excuses about what y'all can't afford. You can't afford it because you don't see the value here. Y'all hear y'all pastor and father, I'm over y'all. I'm over your cheap expressions. See, that's how I know you still poor, broke, busted, and disgusted, because of how you've been honoring me. I'm not worth your McDonald's money. I'm not worth your Red Lobster money. I ain't worth your St. John knit. Y'all can't afford it no how. I ain't worth y'all Louis Vuitton. I ain't worth your Prada. I'm not worth your Gucci. Mother, I'm saying this, and I promise you, Deacon, it's not with respect of want. I'm saying it because I want you to understand just what God is saying.
Come on.
Don't do that. You can't be a pastor that pocket watches. That's a little messed up. That's a lot of messed up.
Did he say you don't find any value? You don't find enough value here?
Is it because y'all not honoring me? Sir, what?
Listen, like.
Okay, and that connects to the medium. Now, the older women in church always tended to the pastor's need as if this guy, like I said, had some special connection to God.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody questioned it. And I was sitting here in my seat like, what's up with this guy? I couldn't raise any question. My mom would like sit down and listen to the service. I couldn't make any connections. I was too young. I wasn't working. You know what I'm saying? All I had was like my school lessons on my mind, homework. But the way the women were attending to this guy needs is almost like if he was
their husband or something.
I know it was weird because the pastor's wife was up there, and I was a kid, and to be noticing these stuff was what's freaky to me because it's doubling in relationships.
They probably was sleeping with him.
I don't know if they were sleeping with him, but I know they definitely had his eye.
Baby, what's going on nowadays? They probably was. Yeah.
If he said jump, they would definitely say oh hi, and low key. I just questioned all of it. I was like, yo, what's so special about this man? I could probably go up there and do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? But that, they were just tending to his needs on a different level that I thought was ungodly. And they don't even realize it was low-key worshiping his moves and words.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that this guy is just saying his interpretation of the Bible. What about my interpretation? Why is his more right than mine? Why is he on the podium preaching it? And I can't say my version. And why my version is correct, but nobody knows which version is correct. It's their choice, and perspective, because at the end of the day, it comes down to your perspective of religion.
Yeah.
So pastors were just upheld in a different standard, above human, often above human.
They were up until you know their business.
True.
That's even there. Sometimes
I mean, when the church is small enough and you get to know your pastor,
mm-hmm.
they do that up until they know his business. Because some churches will worship the pastor like they did yours. Some of them will talk shit about the pastor behind their back. And the mom and the pastor's wife and the pastor's kids. If the pastor's kids do something, first thing that will know is going to be the nosy lady in the church, the deaconess.
But what's worse to me is when the pastor is doing something that isn't of God. They'll talk about them and then still support them and give them money and do all of this. It's like they're almost like, there are some pastors, I won't say all, they function almost like cult leaders. They have this whole cult personality. They're impenetrable. And so you just see they can do stuff like in that clip where they're shaming people. And my question is everyone in this church body taken care of? Are the sick and shut in taken care of?
They're not taken care of. My thing is he had the audacity to say that, yo, McDonald's money is not good here. What?
No, what he was saying was,
is it not?
Is your McDonald's money not good enough for me?
Like, why is it for you?
Yes.
Like,
so he's basically saying you need to take care of me as your leader.
But the what I was taught with the offering that you're giving to the church is to help the people that are in need in the church.
Man.
To take care of
So
sometimes.
Since we're gonna go down that road,
I didn't even know the pastor got paid. When I figured that out, I started putting back. I thought it was for free. I thought it was like he was preaching the word of God. I thought he was coming. Listen to me. I was an innocent child. You know what I'm saying? I come to church every Sunday thinking that everybody's doing this out of the willingness of their heart. And I thought the offering money was what built the buildings, and it was probably a donation or grant from the government to build it within a society, within certain radiuses. So I just thought they came in here to worship God. Because, at the end of the day, you shouldn't be off the world and materialistic. You should just, come and worship God. When I figured out people were on payroll and then getting paid for people converting and baptisms, I was like,
wait a minute, what?
Yeah, I remember this particular night.
Wait.
So in my church,
there's a quota?
Sometimes it depends. My church, we had a whole so there's different conferences in the United States.
Now, this is new to me. This is new.
Okay, so in Florida, we're under the Southeastern Conference, right? Okay. And our pastors are appointed by the conference. And you would have one of the conference leaders come down. They're gonna be like, okay, so this is your new pastor for the next couple of years.
I'm gonna make me another drink.
They're getting
I'm
paid
gonna
through
do.
the conference and stuff like that, but they're still like they are appointed. So yeah, pastors get paid. Like pastors are supposed to baptize a certain amount of people. You're supposed to have a certain amount of people to be a functioning church or whatnot. You have to have members on record. Like if they're not on record, then your church can get shut down. Your pastor can get pulled and be reassigned. So if you're not under the conference, then you won't qualify for certain benefits that the conference gives you. I personally don't know a lot of that, but we would have a lot of our elders go up to the, I think it's in, if I'm not mistaken, in Orlando. I might be wrong, so if I'm wrong, excuse me. But yeah, they would go up to Orlando. They will give reports.
From Haiti?
No, not Haiti. At least all of Florida.
Okay.
Sometimes Caribbean. I feel like there's a conference.
Because I know my pastor used to come abroad and do some preaching and attended some like conferences for pastors as well. And I didn't know he had even that kind of connection up here. Because I thought, why are you even going there? You should be worrying about the church here in the country. But I didn't know he has that kind of connection over abroad and overseas. You know what I'm saying? So it was just, I didn't know it was a business. And when I realized that, all right, so my church has a system of, I want to say not every Sunday, but it was often where they would say Christians come to the front and they do their thing, they pray for the Christians. Now sinners come to the front. Yeah.
Wait a minute now.
Let me tell you, shame, the walk of shame. This was another one. You can see why I slowly pulled away from my congregation. This was another walk of shame. And I sat at the back of the church every time. Easy exit, easy in. Nobody sees me. You know what I'm saying? So sinners come to the front. They pray for the sinners. They, do the mark with the olive oil on their head by the deacon going around. They separate us by age groups and bring us around the back of the church to talk to us within a small little, you know what I'm saying? So somebody who's a lead takes that group. And then basically they're trying to convert you to baptize. Now, this links me to where I'm asking, why is a child being baptized and they don't know the responsibility of a Christian? And they're going to end up backsliding as you grow up. You know what I'm saying? So this is not some light responsibility of becoming a Christian. Yet still they're pushing a child to get baptized. And I would see kids getting baptized because they have like the baptism pool right at the podium where they stand down. And I see it some Sundays here and there and they'll be cheering. I'm like, does that child even know the responsibility they're upholding? Do you know what you're doing? Are you even a Christian? Can you even, you know what I'm saying? It's like giving a child, a police officer, a gun and a badge and be like, go uphold the law. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't.
Yeah, just.
And I mean, that whole sinners coming to the front of the church thing, that one's wild because it sounds like everybody had to. In my church, we just always had, the call. And if you felt like coming forward to get prayed on, you could. But our church also did that thing, confessions. But instead, I don't know. I feel like in Catholic church, you go see a priest in private,
it's
right?
in private.
But
in
front and center on the stage. If you're shy, you can try and do it during evening service. But we've had people come up and confess about watching pornography, come up and confess about teen pregnancy, come up and confess about. They had teenagers, and this was what really bothered me. And I really started looking at my church differently because they were my peers. Come and confess about having sex as teenagers. And I'm like, what is the business of these minors? What does that have to do with these adults in the church? Why do you need to sit here and watch these minors up on stage? And really it was only the girl because the guy didn't want to come up, he refused. Why do you just sit here and listen to her talk about her being, impure on stage? What does that have to do with any of the adults? What does that have to do with anybody besides her family?
I do believe that it was a sense of, if I instill fear and shame in you, you won't do this.
Mm-hmm.
But in actuality, if I instill fear and shame in you, you won't do it. You'll sneak and do it.
Yes.
And then that causes more problems. It's like when I got older, and I was 19 when I started finding out people was doing things in the church. People was coating and fucking and having sex. I was like, wait a minute. Now here I am praying and trying to be just, holy, sanctified, and the preacher got escapades going on.
Ooh, when you find that out.
So I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to believe it because I was like,
So they didn't have like a teen age group in there, like a teen generation, for example. Like
we had drill team, we had youth department, which was YPWW. We had Sunshine Band, but all we did was just learn Bible scriptures and do Bible drill and find Psalms 18:10.
Oh, like those Bible games.
Yeah. And then so you gotta sit there, and then you gotta sit there and read it. But and thus said the Lord, and then they do it again. You gotta do Bible drill. We did that as teens. We never talked about the birds and the bees and life, and we never did that because it was like sex was a no-no. But everybody in the church still popping up pregnant.
Hold up.
And then the pastor's daughter is pregnant at 16, and that was the story of my church.
Hold up. Hold on. So hold on. All right, me little boy, right? They have, like I said, age categories. The little ones, because they break them up in Sunday school classes.
Mm-hmm.
Then the teens, man. Let me tell you, those teens. When I was a kid, and those teens.
You need some more to drink?
No. those teens.
I use restroom. Where is it? Can I come back?
Listen,
Okay.
those teens doing the most. Okay. Right?
Seriously.
They were doing some. When I figured out the relations going amongst the teens at church, and these were the people I looked up to. That was the worst part. I'm like, I want to be one of those teens leading the church service one of these days. You know what I'm saying? Singing on the front and having that confidence. Man, let me tell you.
Get on the table.
These people were chucking and jiving before I even knew what it was. But the thing is, and how I noticed that, it's like I said, that people watch. And I realized like the facial expression amongst each other. And then I realized connect the dots, and I realized so-and-so started talking, and so-and-so is talking. And it's not me being in the tea, it's just me watching and realizing. And then I overheard and I'm like, damn, that's what's going on in church. And they just pop up in church, all smiles like nothing happened, knowing that you are here having sex outside of wedlock.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, so what's up? Is he gonna help? I'm gonna get dragged if I'm too close to that person. What's gonna happen?
Dude, let me tell you something. I didn't have sex until I can't remember the exact age. I know it was like 23, 24. Yeah. But see, it didn't happen to me. You know what I'm saying? I was still in the church.
How do you feel?
Huh?
When you first did it, how do you feel?
Oh, I felt good. You know what I'm saying? But hold on, wait. But the thing about it was I had such fear that I was going to hell. Like, I thought I was going to be like, oh, have a great time. Pew!
That was
and it was like the next day I woke up, I was like, oh shit, I'm still here? Bitch, I want some more. You know what I'm saying? I want some more. You know what I'm saying? I want some more.
So wait a minute, I'm gonna say some more what?
Some more sex.
Yes, more sex. More sex.
Listen, I felt the same way because I'm like, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was a moment. Let me tell you, that guilt felt so that I could lay on the floor.
Let me tell you, I didn't have no type of guilt.
I felt like I was
at all.
on the floor. It took me a long time to get over that so bad, and I know it was like instilled teachings, and it was just so. I felt like I could just melt in the floor. And
after you did it.
Now after give me a day when I started thinking to myself, but
afterwards I was like, but it was like a couple of days later because I got around the pastor. Well, actually, my family was my church because it was a church. It was our church family, and so it would always be hellfire and brimstones, and it was like any little thing that I did, it was like. I couldn't have sex. I couldn't go on a date. I couldn't date girls. I actually was trying to date this one little girl, right?
Not you dating women's.
Oh my God. So I was 18 and the girl was 16. And it was like, she ain't right. Why don't you go date so? Now, okay, I hate to do this because every time I say this.
Were they playing Cupid in church?
Huh? Yeah, playing matchmaker. The girl that they were trying to hook me up with, and I hate to do this, she was like a big stud, right? And I was like,
maybe because they thought he was like, well, he's a little feminine, so we hook him up with the masculine one over here, they'd be a good pair. That's the.
And we became the best of friends, right? And it was just like, But the girl who I actually wanted to talk to, it was like, no. So I developed this thing like, I don't want to do it with females. Like, I don't understand that, because every time I wanted to do it, it was like, no. So I'm like, I already like dudes. So I'm trying to go like females. You telling me no. So I'm just going to go back over here. And I'm like, I never did anything, but it was just like, okay, you want me to do it, but then you don't want me to do it. You tell me if I'm going to go do something, I'm going to go to hell. I'm all kind of confused. You know what? I'm just going to sit back. I'm just going to sit back.
And I think it's all about optics, like some of the stuff you're talking about with the teens. Because our teen, I would say most of our youth group was promiscuous, including myself. But no one cared as long as you presented very modestly in front of the church.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always like the innocent angel darling of the church. That's because I was very good and never got caught doing anything. And so the adults always respected me. They thought I was the role model for their daughter.
I was good at pretending.
I'm just sitting in the back thinking, that's wild.
That's wild.
You know what I'm saying?
You should have seen what I did before this service, but that's wild.
But
It's what I'm saying. And I'll be right here
optics.
next to him like, oh my gosh, she's such a good church sister. I want to be like her. Me at a young age, knowing that she probably had, like I said, the pasta, chucking and jiving and dance, boom, Sunday morning.
Maybe she wasn't no shucking and jiving.
She was the podium preaching to everybody.
Sucking and slurping.
The
4K, you know what I'm saying?
The crazy part was, even when I was younger, I felt like I never felt shame necessarily, or that anything I was doing was wrong. And so I took that into adulthood when I was in college. But even despite all of that, whether it's like queer identity or just like sexual activity in general, I still had this discomfort with sex. It's like I still carried a lot of those messages subconsciously to the point where actually having sex with a man was still uncomfortable for me, even if I didn't feel guilty or shameful about it. It's just like there might be this voice in the back of your head still making it uncomfortable. And so to truly be, and it's crazy. I'm like, I don't even care, and it's still bothering me and affecting me. And
I do believe at some point when we look at cultural standpoints, we're taught fear to not do something, but it's never explained why not to.
Because there is no reason.
There is a reason.
There's a reason,
but nothing's ever explained. Like, okay, if you go out and just start sleeping with everybody, little girl, you gonna have babies by everybody, little girl. You know, nobody ever. That's not a good example, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
It's never explained. Like, don't give yourself to everybody. Be disciplined. You know, be very mindful of who you give yourself to.
Yes.
You know, because they may look cute today, and then it may not be who you want to be with. You know, you get to know the person. It was never that. Like, what I'm saying sounds very logical, but I had to learn that myself because it was always taught like, oh, y'all look cute together. Y'all should get merged.
what do married people do?
Exactly.
They don't even like each other.
Okay, listen.
And see, even with my bad, I'm sorry. Even with the whole like being careful about who you give yourself to, I hate to be that person. I even disagree with that sentiment. We just don't teach people to be safe. I feel like when it comes to sexual education and what we should teach our people, there's the health side of things, but the pleasure side of things is just as important to teach people because it teaches them to be safe and it's okay to explore what you like or what you want this, how you want this. We don't teach our people what that means and what that even looks like.
Are you talking people in terms of the Black people, or are you talking people in terms of like kids just in school in general?
Well, I'll say that since I can only speak on our community, sexual education is non-existent in the majority of our homes when it comes to stuff like that. We're not taught it's okay to have sex because it feels good. We're taught the only time you should have sex is when you're married and you want to have children. But we all know that's not the case as to why most people have sex. And that I feel like that's just as important to teach someone so they can protect themselves when they're taking part in these acts. So you don't end up pregnant. So you don't end up with 7 STDs So you don't end up with meningococcal meningitis, whatever the hell that is.
What? Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Hep A, Hep B,
Or herpesipa waffle crab. I don't know. Listen, at this point,
mumps and bumps. At
Oh,
this point, that's what we call
When
it.
did you start learning like sex ed?
Okay,
how
so
did school teach it to you?
okay, so I was taught sex ed throughout school until after 5th grade. When I moved here from Minnesota to Orlando, I didn't hear anything else about sex ed.
That's good.
My last time really hearing about sex ed, I was at a Lutheran school in St. Paul, Minnesota.
So they teach you.
They taught you like, you take your penis and you put it in your vagina. They taught all that, right? I mean, but they taught, they showed all the videos and they showed all the sexual diseases and everything like that. But afterwards, sex ed started going away. They stopped teaching it because it was like it was not needed. And it was like, maybe if you updated it a little bit.
No, it was needed because the MTV had Teen Mom. They was profiting off of Teen Moms. So fuck that. Like, I'm really upset. Hey, yo, the first time I learned about sex, my mom taught me at a very young age, but she wasn't teaching me. They were like, she was teaching me so I could be scared. So like around 7, my mom was like, niggas ain't shit. Don't have sex. They will leave you. Like really like that. She was like, they will leave you. Like you give it up and they're gone. So then
That's horrible.
in like 6th grade, my teacher showed us miracle at birth, and then we saw the lady give birth, and it was very scary. And then shout out to Dr. Green, 9th grade. She really showed us not only about sex, but how to be safe and the kinds of diseases you can catch. Like I saw a baby with chlamydia in his eye. So like they were really showing us, yeah. So after a while, at my church, once they decided to put me in a leadership position when I didn't want it, I decided that I'm going to teach all the kids about sex because why not? I'm leaving. So I made sure that they were well informed before I left. I took it upon myself to teach the kids at the church. They were very, like the elders were very uncomfortable, but I was like, this is a topic that we all have to talk about because if you're not going to teach your child about sex, who is?
The streets.
Okay. And
one thing I do like about what you just said is educating the younger generation, the young kids about it is very good because when you teach them about sex and what's good, what's not good, this touch is not okay, that touch is not okay, it helps a child to know what is what because you see so many predators and your face.
I'm sorry because they're around. They're your family members. The predators are your family members. The predators are the people that you trust the most, and you won't believe it until your child tells you. So believe your children if they tell you.
But you know the bad part about it is when your child tells you, you're just like, you're a liar.
Yeah.
You little whore, go sit down. Mm-hmm. You try to come against the man of God. You're like,
and see, I don't even get that because you neglect to teach your children what sex is or what you don't even give them the tools and the rhetoric to protect themselves or to communicate to you.
You don't even give them the vocabulary. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You don't give them the vocabulary for them to understand or even to explain to somebody that they're being touched in private areas. They're like, oh, don't touch my private. Like some people don't even know that. Like some people don't even know the word vagina. Like somebody touched my vagina and I felt uncomfortable. Teach your children.
Teach your children. And you know, I correct my little cousin all the time. It's a baby. Well, he's not even my little cousin. He's my cousin's cousin, but I call him my cousin. If that makes any sense.
It's your cousin.
He's my cousin's baby. Yeah, he's like 4 years old. He's always refers to his penis as a wee wee. I'm like, it's a penis. It's not your wee wee.
But you know that we were taught those like the little cute, more acceptable names.
No, it's not acceptable.
You gotta go. You got your pee pee
because
out.
My thing is, the teacher won't understand like wee wee pee pee. Like if the teacher doesn't understand, then they can't protect your child. Like if somebody on the street can't comprehend what your child is trying to explain, then you're gonna be shit out of luck when something's happening to your kid. and they're trying to protect themselves and they can't because they don't have the words to do it.
Mhm.
So PP is cute up until it's not when somebody's
A pocketbook.
Pocketbook. Remember that? Yeah, pocketbook.
What's up?
You never heard of pocketbook?
That's over
Your
time.
mermaid purse.
Oh.
Yeah.
You never heard of?
I didn't get
Your
that.
privacy,
I didn't get the
don't
first
touch my
piece, especially
privacy.
from my mom.
Yeah.
Well,
Man,
I think
you
that
can't play this
speaks
stuff
to-
in the
I think
streets
that speaks
because
to its
they'll get to
gender.
looking at you like,
Yeah.
well, bring me their pocketbook over here. I mean, you just live in a day and time where it's just like anything is happening, and you're in a world where everybody is at a point where they're just literally fucked up because we're in a society where it's don't ask, don't tell. If you're hurting, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Go somewhere and cry somewhere else. I got my own shit to deal with. And it's like, why have we how have we gotten to this place to where we're like this? It's so many dynamics with it, whether it's culture, whether it's your religion, whether it's family, it's all suppressing. And we feel like, and this is so sad when I say this. I'm gonna feel real bad when I say this. No, I'm not.
Go ahead, say it. Take your time.
We say, oh, you know, all of this damnable things is going on in our life. You don't talk to each other. You don't have conversations, but we're going to go pray to God.
Because God will just pray the demons away. And it was like that even from my family. Like you tell them something, you tell them you're depressed, you're going through something.
Go pray.
Pray it away. Don't worry.
Go depress these dishes.
Like, don't
Go
worry
depress
about
this
seeing
mop.
a doctor. Don't worry about going to therapy. Don't worry about talking it out with someone, having a conversation with a
Now
family
that's a good one
member.
right there.
Like you can't even you just can't have any honest communication about anything. And then I don't know, it's
like a button of society. Like you have to pretend everything's okay, and then you can go home, cry in the room, pray to God. He's gonna help you. Like there's nobody to bounce anything off of. Not even your parents. Not even your it's just not common.
and I feel like it's generational because I feel like their parents also didn't really have those relationships with them, and then you just see it passed down
I'm not
from
getting a secretary because I cannot be sitting up here trying to work this and talking and listen.
from generation to generation, and then it's like people are not comfortable engaging with their own children and having serious conversations with their own children, and they rather protect like a brother or a boyfriend or a husband or someone that makes them feel good with their unhealthy attachment styles than their own kids. So I don't know.
Yeah, and
And then you
Darius
just see
gets
it
on my nerves.
my pocketbook was wrong. Go me too.
But those lingos though, for real. I know I got a couple of the lingos with the cute lingos, but I can say for sure I learned it at a young age. Teacher came in with the banana. She was very stern. She's like, okay, kids, that's enough. This is what's gonna happen. Everybody starts laughing, chuckling, you know.
Wait, they call it a banana?
No, she came in with
She
like
brought
a
a banana.
Oh, she brought the banana in
and
the
a condom,
condom.
yeah. And she
Oh.
had the pictures and everything. And I wasn't even grade 6 yet. I think it was like 6 years old, but I was halfway through primary school, and she had the pictures to show. She had she wasn't holding back, and I'm like, why didn't I hear this from mom and dad? I'm scared, you know? Why'd you tell me this?
Yeah.
I was low-key feeling sexually harassed, but I was so pulled in that I'm learning all these new vocabulary.
Did you feel deprived?
I don't know. I felt like I was being stripped of my innocence, but
But
it was necessary because I'm in school learning it. And I felt like I needed my mom and dad next to me. That's what I felt like.
And Dr. Green
Yeah,
put out a case of
yeah.
titties. Like she was like she did.
Wait a minute, wait.
Okay, so there was I'm dead ass. There was a case of titties, and then some of them had lumps in them. So she was teaching us how to feel.
For breast cancer.
Yeah, but like things like that. Like I know a lot of Christian families would have gotten very upset if they knew that a box of titties got pulled out in the classroom.
But what's so
That
bad about
should
it is
not-
like we don't talk about this I think we really started talking about this maybe 10, 15 years ago because everybody started dying off, like grandma started dying and she had breast cancer and they didn't want to do nothing about it. So she just died with it. Then people were like, well, I don't want to die. Just chop that bitch off. Just we don't talk about those things, but it's like it's very important that young girls know how to take care of themselves instead of just putting some grease and oil on it. Talking about we're gonna pray about it. Like, bitch, I got grease on it, but it still hurts.
But he's not lying. That's
The castor oil, black castor oil,
and the consecrated oil. Because I actually have some. All right, my mother is kind of like I said, very religious. Go through the house, speaking tongues, marking on the wall the crosses. I didn't have no problem with that. Let her do her thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exorcist, mom, do your thing. I don't want no demons in here. But I'm not even gonna lie. The other day, she even did it like a month ago or so. Came to the house and like, yo, mom, this house don't feel right. Do something.
Did she get some sage?
She got not sage. She got the consecrated oil, and she wrote crosses on the door.
If I have sage and oil,
you know what I'm saying? I love my mother. I love that she's a Christian. I love what she does, and I always think that what she does is very true, even though if I don't connect that way. I'm like, hey, yo, mom, touch these doors for me. You know what I'm saying? Write those crosses for me real quick. She dropped some tongues, put some crosses on. No demons in here, you know what I'm saying? So that was the kind of thing I grew up with, and that consecrated oil was definitely a method to where they just boom, put it on the area that's being pain, like you can't walk, you can't talk. Boom, put you on the forehead. You know what I'm saying?
But it's about your belief too.
Yeah. But isn't the Seventh-day Adventist not about tongue speaking? And
we do not do tongues.
See, and we'd have people in church rolling, pushing chairs away, and they have the kids come out because they have demons possibly.
Oh,
baby,
see,
that's
listen.
Embarrassing to us. Like,
no.
He's showing out. Like,
so I'm Pentecostal.
Yeah.
So you had to wear skirts.
Huh?
You had to wear skirts to church.
Yeah, the girls had to wear long skirts and stuff. But when it came down to demons and stuff, they had to push the kids all in the room, and you had to plead the blood of Jesus, blood of Jesus, blood of Jesus, blood of Jesus, blood of Jesus. And
the kids had to plead it?
Yeah, the kids had to repeat that too. Okay. Meanwhile, we hear howling wolves and barking and killing in another room. But I'm serious. In the Pentecostal church, it was so extreme. Like, it was a lot going on. Baby, it was purged and people frothing all at the mouth, spitting all up on the floor. And
the pastor holding the stomach shaking. And
you know what I'm saying? The pastor punching in the stomach, hey, glory.
Yeah.
So it's like, to me, the older I got, I compared it to voodoo. Yeah. Which voodoo is not bad.
Okay, because I was going to say, I have people in my family that dabble. And
no, baby, no. Because if you really understand voodoo, it's what we do in American society, just got a cute name. And it's not necessarily that it's bad, because I had to do my studies about voodoo and hoodoo and what it was. And it was basically what we do in church. We chant, we center ourselves and everything like that. And by the time we get through, whatever we was praying for manifested, didn't manifest, or whatever, the bad spirit went away. You had to go to the woman down the street, and she gave you a little powder to put around your house, and that bad spirit went away. What do we do in church? Baby, take this blessed oil right here. I'm praying for this breath. And you take this oil and you go wipe over the house.
You can never put that kind of connection to them in front of their faces, because they're gonna call that blasphemous.
Oh yes, they even tell me, because I sit up and just mimic speaking in tongues. I'm like, do you know what speaking in tongues is? Speaking in tongues is like if I was to start speaking patois or Creole or French, and I don't know what the hell I'm saying, but somebody else do. So if the spirit take over me and I start speaking German, somebody else need to be in the room to know what the hell I'm saying. Maybe the Lord was trying to tell somebody something. I got a trance.
And so you see that in like a lot of the African-based religions, like voodoo and Santeria and Oya, you see all of that. And it's literally the same freaking thing with a different name. There's literally no difference between praying and casting a spell. I said what I said.
Because I'm thinking real hard, like, we don't believe in that stuff, but I'm Haitian.
It's there.
So there's just a different, like, we respect each other's, like, we respect it. Like, voodoo is very prominent. Everybody knows this. I have family that dabbles in it. We all are aware that we have family members that dabble in it. And when a demon does come up, we are all aware. Like, we are like, shit. Like, damn, we gotta get the right people in the room.
And so y'all go get the people.
Sometimes the pastor is not equipped. You know, like sometimes you need to go a little down there and get the proper people.
So in Acts, the book of Acts, it said that there was a woman, or I think there was a person that had a spirit, I guess an unclean spirit or something. So they had to conjure up the name of Jesus just to get that person delivered. Now, that's what the Bible says. Now, I'm just saying, like, conjuring work.
That's craft.
And see, it's funny you bring that up, because I believe I told you this a while back about the actual first book of the Bible and how the Watchers, the angels that portrayed God came down. It literally says that they taught them weaponry, taught humans weaponry, and taught them spells.
Baby, I can go ahead and get the book right now.
Words. So I'm like, so the fact that they had to conjure even further in the Bible, I'm like, all that gets explained within the first book that magically got deleted from the part when they organized religion. That part got deleted, along with Enoch walking with God, and of course Adam's first wife who got casted from the garden. It's just all this stuff was intentionally deleted because it was too close to what they were trying to control already.
I mean, I feel like I don't want to put them on the spot, but a lot of the things that we do culturally are somewhat kind of like that, kind of like witchcraft, kind of like the teas that we drink. Like I don't know anybody. We are tea heavy in Haiti. Like if you're sick, you're gonna drink the teas. My mom can go out. She gonna pick some plants from random trees. She's gonna boil something for me, and it's gonna work. I don't know what it is, but it's going to work. She's very aware of these things. She's very aware of nature. She's very in tune with nature.
But what do we do in our Americanized society? We don't get in tune with nature. We gonna go get a pill.
Yeah, but the pills don't work. My mom was be like, listen.
Even the pills, some of those are derived from herbs. It's witchcraft.
It's not even that. Like, okay, so I know a lot of people that came from Haiti. No problems. They are not sickly people. They come here in less than a year. They have diabetes. They have high blood pressure. They have hypertension. They are dying of stress. And they were on an island, quote unquote, a third world country where they would be able to have all the resources that we have here, but they were not dying. It's not like I don't know. Like there's a lot.
I think that's like a commentary on other more systemic issues.
Yeah.
But it's crazy how that works. And I think we get so detached from that knowledge that we kind of came with, the knowledge that is inspired both our African heritage and then what we learned from the land, what we learned from indigenous people both in the US and also on the islands. And we get so detached from all of that and that understanding of nature and natural remedies. And then we just focus on more, our current healthcare system, right? That's not caring for a lot of people. At the same time, there's, like we said, there's this belief that the church and some prayer will heal you of everything. And I'm like, baby, if your blood sugar is out of control, you need to control it. It's not, you can't pray away every disease. There's a lack of balance. It's like we've lost touch with herbal remedies and our own traditional knowledge, but we're also not necessarily trusting the healthcare system. Understandably, not very trustworthy, but it's just a mix of, I don't feel like there's a lot of focus on genuine care, regardless. And it's just.
Yeah, I completely agree. And even jumping back to what Dominique said about how some of the things that aren't so Christian are still kind of prominent in our community. We don't even know it. Like the whole concept of putting your purse on the ground or you'll lose money, that's a hoodoo thing.
Really?
Yes, it is. The whole idea of making black-eyed peas and collard greens, that's also a hoodoo thing. The idea of, you can't sweep
a person's feet or they're not going to get married.
That's a hoodoo thing. Or sweeping all the dirt out of your house during the New Year's so you don't bring in any troubles. That's a hoodoo thing.
Sweeping in the nighttime too.
All of these things are literally practices that kind of got carried in our culture that came from that. And it's like we don't know the origins of this. We just know that it exists.
We're superstitious.
It got rebranded.
I think it's like it almost speaks to this attempt to
Whiteness.
make Christianity, yes, a very white thing. And so it takes the blackness and the black tradition, the African tradition of Christianity, not even considering the history of Christianity on the African continent, but it just takes all of that out of it and wants to distill it down to this like this white, simple thing that's without witchcraft and superstition. Ugh, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. It's not what it is. It's not what it is.
Yeah.
They used to have this thing on YouTube called whitewash. I don't know if y'all ever seen it.
I've heard of it.
I know the terminology.
So everything about your blackness was whitewashed. You go through the Bible, all the figurines and everything in the Bible were whitewashed. Moses, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were whitewashed. They were all colored people. But because of they wanted to have this superiority complex, they made them white.
I just need everybody to make it make sense for me because look at the map. They so close to the fucking equator. Y'all really think
That's all
that
I'm
these
saying.
snow roaches would survive? Like I'm so upset about it because it doesn't make sense. They can barely go to the beach for 2 hours without turning like red. Or, like it's okay. Like I'm not mad no more. I'm tired of it.
It literally makes no sense. And you know, and I feel like a lot of the reason why the white men did that, as far as using religion to control people, even before the Christian religion became the staple of the Roman Empire, they became Roman Catholic. Before then, in order to control the people viewed their leaders as gods. Like even in Egypt, the pharaoh was revered as a descendant of the god, and even like in the Roman Empire, they were viewed as descendants of gods. That's how people obeyed these people. So it was only natural, I guess, in that sense, for them to transfer that over when the Christian religion took over, to revere themselves as God, to be seen as God. So people obeyed you, hence like Jesus.
But we was talking about this the other day too. Now, we supposed to be looking up to Jesus, right? I don't have a problem with that.
Depends on your denomination.
Well,
not everybody.
We supposed to be looking up to Jesus. So you give us this white man that we supposed to be looking up to, and after we do our little research, turns out we're supposed to be worshiping a homosexual.
So hold up. My question is, with all that worship placed into that one image, what kind of sorcery or what kind of, I don't want to say damage, obviously it's done damage, but imagine the picture that so many people have in their households, their grandmas, of that white man on the wall. Now, and I know some of them probably look to it while they're praying. What kind of damage spiritually that has done? Imagine Jesus is there in the corner of your kitchen just chilling like, damn, look at that. Praying to a white man.
Like that,
that's
bro.
not even me.
Who is that?
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know
Whose
who
man's
this
is this?
Who is this?
But what I'm trying to say on a spiritual level, and on a level that I'm not at yet, just it's like somebody coming to you and say Mickey Mouse is Jesus, and you're praying to Mickey Mouse, and you're cut off from the world. But that's completely different person from who he actually is.
It's based upon, and this is the only way I know it. It's based upon your belief. People pray to the Virgin Mary, the Madonna. Is based upon your belief.
It is based on your
When you want to, you're looking for a miracle. You pray, and your belief manifests things. And it's like this. Even when it came down to Jesus, Jesus said, "You want this to happen? Okay, you got to believe in order for it to happen." So even if there is no Jesus, you need to believe
that there is, or what you're praying for is not going to happen.
Yeah, like
at this point, I mean, if you close your eyes and just think Jesus, the first thing that's gonna come to your mind is a white man.
Whoa.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now. That's what.
Baby, ain't no perm finna come in my vision.
I'm just saying.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
The first thing that comes to mind is a white man
Yeah,
grew
that's
up with right behind it. It's just what I've been taught and what I see over for years and years.
He gonna have some curls or some
See,
kinky waves or something.
My thing is, I never really understood the whole white Jesus thing because when Moses got the 10 Commandments and they're like, we're not worshiping false prophets or anything like that, idols, like the whole painting of the white Jesus and putting the white Jesus in your home, that's an idol that you worship. When you sit down and pray in front of the white Jesus, you really praying to that idol. Like, you're not supposed to be doing
Even
that.
Jesus said don't worship.
Not even the cross. Like that cross situation, Jesus was like, why you,
crucifix?
like, yeah, why would you pray on something that he died on?
That's
It's like
what I-
praying on a casket. Would you do that?
It's just
Would you
weird.
pray
But
on
you
a
hold
cross?
on, wait.
Well,
Now, well, I'm Kojic now. I'm Church of God in Choir.
I was gonna say,
We have, and this is really bad. The more I think about this now, we have a building in Memphis. In that building, our founder is in that building, dead in that building. He is in catacombs.
Mhm.
Did I say that
And
right?
bomb?
catacomb.
Yeah,
In the wall.
his tomb is right there in the church. People go in there and pray.
Oh, get out of here.
No, now I don't lie now. In that building, now I can't speak for nobody else, but I know for me, in that building, you can feel a presence. Like
I believe that.
you can feel a
I believe
presence
that.
in that building. Now his body is there, but you can feel a presence. And when people like real prayer warriors,
Mhm.
when they go and they get, they get caught up, you know. Oh, hey, glory to God. And I mean, it's like it's no different from the Catholic Church, because in the Catholic Church, in the basement, they have all those entombed saints there. And that's what we've done as an organization. We've entombed our founder in the building because that was his building. That's where he wanted to be buried, period. Now, what happened was he had a glass casket. Dead serious. He had a glass casket.
He has some money.
Somebody went in there and vandalized and cracked it. So they had to go and fix it and then just, close it off and everything like that. But in our organization, our founder is in the building, and that's where he is.
That is
disturbing.
That is very disturbing. Well, just because I know there are some religions that kind of restrict that, because it's also seen as disrespectful to keep someone and not let them go back into the earth where they came from. Like, there are a lot of other religions that view that as a huge disrespect. So, I think it's really interesting that they did that.
Well, they worship the leader.
Oh, Lord.
No, dead serious. There are some people in our organization that everything they talk about is Bishop Charles Harrison Mason. Now, Bishop Charles Harrison Mason did voodoo.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
No.
I'm gonna say, like, but we can't worship our ancestors. That's what we can do. We can do that for people. Like,
No, I don't. But the Bible even talks about you pray to the God of your ancestors, and then you pray to your ancestors who is for your highest being, for your good. I know about all this right here. You know what I'm saying? Old shoe and old gold. Let me pull this up.
There's this plantation that we used to visit back in school. Slave plantation of a woman that used to own it, and at the end of the tour, we'd have to go to her grave and sing around it. Basically, to prevent her from trying to do any harm to anybody else who leave the plantation. I thought it was weird as hell, but I didn't want to bring on any ghosts, no slave driving ghosts, to my home.
slave driving ghosts.
Yeah, she was
Wow.
she was a woman that owned a slave house. Like, we were on the plantation, running around and everything. She had a big house. We saw the secret passages and everything. And at the end of the tour, we had to go around her grave and sing. But it was just a little weird. And I remember going around that grave. I like you said, you felt something. It was just something on my shoulders. Just felt, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it kind of really goes back to the whole belief thing too. One of the main things I think I've taken away from a lot of different religions, even Christianity, if there's no belief assigned to it, it has no power.
That's the thing.
Hence why
That's
some
what I
more
thought.
That's
people
the
are
thing.
some more people are susceptible to those feelings than not. Like, I have all these stories about, feeling all these presences and seeing all these
Did you
things.
pop up?
I don't believe heavy like that. So I've never had an experience like that.
Oh, I'm glad you don't because it's scary. It's so scary. We're like, oh, is that Bishop Charles?
What? Yeah, that's straight up.
Wow.
That is straight up. Those are the
That's
same kind of
new.
similar equipment that you use when you're doing a bit. And in Jamaica right now, you get a glimpse of it. I don't like to watch the videos, but they have it's the two main things going on. I can tell you for sure happening. These are what they call protective rings, as opposed to squeeze you or tell you if the danger's come. You're about to be in danger. And when you go to the courthouse, they line it with these special salt or powder to kind of lean it in your favor. And it's so bad that whoever counts the money, obviously, when you have to pay up within court, they use gloves or they don't even want to touch it because oftentimes they put a curse on the money. It's like, oh, you're going to get the money. You're going to get the money, all right. But you're going to come with some. So I remember I used to pass them away from high school. So I used to walk through the inner city to get to high school, and I passed the courthouse. And I remember people used to tell me stories of when they go in there, they feel this heavy presence in the courtroom and the whole walking through that door and they see the salt at the line of the door. They don't even touch it. Nobody wants to touch that. And I just stayed away from it. The closest I got to it was in the courtyard, not the courthouse.
It really is how open you are. Like if you open yourself up to these things, if you open yourself up to these spirits, they will start bothering you.
Yeah, you're more susceptible.
They will start bothering you.
But that is definitely. Come on.
That reminds me.
Is that snakes?
Yeah.
No, that's wood.
That's wood that's carved into snakes.
So I'm pulling back up again. So, well, that computer is a little slow. Don't pray for it. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy though.
And that's even how like Orishas work. Like in order for your Orisha to reveal itself to you, you have to ask for it, you have to seek it, you have to believe in it. And your Orisha will pretty much reveal itself to you. That's how that works.
But my thing is, like, with
scary,
that
man.
though, it doesn't even have to, like, you don't necessarily have to truly believe. Like, if you hear enough stories from your elders, you don't start believing.
Yeah.
So, like, when you start feeling bumps in the night and shit like that, when one of the church leaders is like, oh, a demon sat on my chest, then I had to call for Jesus. I don't believe her.
I don't like sis. Go to the doctor. You got COVID.
No.
The worst
No,
part
like
is when those same fighter warriors
it was
see catch
scary.
their own fear. Because I know, like I said, my grandmother was definitely a Christian woman. And when I heard stories when she got afraid, listen, you just start. Okay, and the next story, you know what I'm saying? But my dad, coming back from a certain time, they grew up in one of the first free villages in Jamaica. And a lot of Maroons used to run up in the mountains, and that's where a lot of Obia and voodoo was done, and remnants of a lot of spirits and stuff. So my dad used to tell me all these things he used to saw. One of the famous stories I remember he used to say, and I used to run these mountains. Like, this is what I did in the summer. Running through these mountains, shooting birds, milking cows. That's what I do. You know what I'm saying? Trying goes.
When did you come here?
This is what I did. Running through the village and all that stuff. That's what I wanted to do because I was a city boy, but I love the country. So I spend my time in the countryside. But let me tell you this. My dad told me the story. The worst part is when he's telling me about these streets. These are the same streets I run in the summer. I know it. All right. We have a thing called a rolling calf, right? I don't know if you know what a rolling calf is. It's supposed to be a ball of fire with chains rolling, and it passes. It's supposed to create a certain heat. It's supposed to have cold sweats. He told me that one day he was just walking with him and his couple sisters, and this ball of fire just rolled past him. And I'm telling you, that place gets pitch dark as night. Very few street lights. And let me tell you, they start running up the hills. Those are the same hills I run myself. I know how hard it is to go up those hills. And they say, just listen out for chains. Just imagine some cow chains jangling. And all of a sudden you see this ball of fire rolling. There's multiple types of spirits you can see. My dad said you're walking from school, seeing the trees start bending. And that spirit is walking on top of the trees as it's coming closer to it. And he started running straight home until he's running straight inside, straight into his mom's room, right into the bed. And the spirit came into the house because he didn't lock the door. And just sat there at the door looking at them in the bed. And his mom saw it, and she didn't want to move. even when it stood, and he stood there for a good portion of the night till that, and he didn't move out of that room. These stories are so crazy.
They're so crazy.
And my grandma is a spiritual warrior. And to know that she didn't even want to start a battle right there or even want to confront it, that shit is serious. So there's
I do believe,
especially in the countryside. That's where it gets real bad, because that's where you get to hide out in the bushes and do the chantings and the voodoos and stuff like that. Because that's where I've even killed goats and chickens hanging from the upside down the trees, and those are some stuff you need for the spiritual. You know what I'm saying? But those are just for that's what I just do for like big family gatherings, and that's kind of for me. Like I said, I'm a country kid by heart, but these are some definitely places if you want to know what's up in the countryside, especially in the mountainside. Definitely one of the most scariest places to get the stories. You want to go home at the same time.
And see, even that right there, fearing stuff like that, like all of that is an indoctrination of Christianity, because our ancestors before that, they would pray to these beings. Well, they would call them Loas. They would pray to them and ask them for things, and they were pretty much taught that these entities, they just exist. They're not good nor evil. They have their own agendas, their own thoughts, their own minds. So in order for you to ask for anything or like ask whatever any of these entities are, you need some kind of relationship or connection to them. Is typically you get to get. That's pretty much the whole situation there. So growing up, because I don't personally believe in the shit, and I've never seen anything. Yeah, I don't. But I've heard stories from different family members of mine about different entities they've seen and all this other stuff. Because I do have some family members that practice something. So that's something that they are really heavy into. And with a lot of African-based, religions, they revolve around like seeing things, different entities, spirits, demons, whatever the hell you want to call them, pun intended. There's always a sense of deep respect for these beings because they have the power to change things. It wasn't until Christianity came into the mix that we started fearing these things. And you have horror stories like that. And other things. Because there are things that do evil and there are things that do good, but we are capable of both. These beings are capable of both.
No, I believe they're capable of both. I'm remembering a story that they told me, like, in the country, it's the countryside. Like, if you're in the country, like, baby, like, one thing in our community, in Haitian community, you have to respect your elders. Even if they're strangers, if you don't know them, try to be as nice as possible. Because you don't know who these people are.
And
you do not know what they can sit on
people. Yes.
It's them.
Those are the people you have to be so careful of. You have to be so mind and mindful because they're behind closed doors. Those people, it's like, when they say that old people don't give a fuck. Just do what they want to do.
Oh no, old
Let me just
people
tell you,
in the Caribbean are spiteful as fuck.
They don't care, and if you just do the things that gets on their nerve and they go, all right, I'm gonna get rid of you. I'm gonna set this on you, and they be pulling these sick things.
Oh, that's in Christianity too. Like if you bother somebody, they'll go home and they'll tell somebody like, "Oh, don't worry about baby. I'm gonna go ahead and take it. I'm gonna go in back in. I'm gonna go pray."
They're not praying.
They are not back there casting a spell. That's what you do.
Yeah, the elder of the community, and I didn't even know some of the most spiritual people. I found out later on, once I came to America, they were practicing voodoo. This is people like I said, good morning, good afternoon, and I was never rude or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? The only thing that could make them probably try and get to me is from them not like my parents or anything like that. Because even that they'll try to curse the whole family.
But I'm gonna tell you something about that though, and this is Gus. Let's go spiritual side. Oh God. Okay, so moderators, real quick. If y'all can get rid of whoever this person is, y'all please do y'all job. I sure appreciate y'all. Okay, I think y'all.
That's hilarious.
Y'all handling it? Okay. Listen, make sure y'all share this live. Make sure y'all share this conversation. We almost done, y'all, but this is really good. We just sharing our walks and things. Okay.
To other religions now.
I love them.
Yeah. Okay, y'all got a handle. So, I do believe this. that a lot of times the reason why certain people can't touch you is because there is some kind of a hedge of protection around you. Either somebody's already prayed for your covering, or there is some type of ancestral being that is there watching over you. Now, I can only speak for me. I can't tell you nobody else shit. But I remember as a young child, there was, my uncle hadn't even died, but I saw him dead. And I was in a dream. I saw him dead. He walked in my classroom and I saw the dust from him flowing, right? And he stood in the corner and stood there. And I was looking like, don't nobody else see this shit? So years later, he had passed. I have an aunt who at the time was not dead, but in my dream, I saw her. Matter of fact, I was in a field and I was doing something in the field and I picked up a coin. Yeah. And on that coin, I saw her like, she had medals on her neck and she was like rejoicing. And I was like, what is this? And so somebody told me she got her reward. And I was like, the fuck is this? So when I woke up, I knew automatically what it meant. So then when I went to my aunt's house, mind you, my other auntie who wasn't dead was there. I was bawling because I knew it was going to happen. And I had told somebody, I said, a lot of times, either spirit or whatever, God prepares you for certain things. And a lot of times who you are, whatever in the spirit, you're covered and you see things beforehand, before time. I think the liquor started to get to me. Oh, you see things before time because it prepares you. And I just think that that's just something spiritual that a lot of us may deal with and encounter for those of us who can handle certain things like that. But we're never taught those things in church, in life, in families, in reality, because it's always either, oh, that's the devil or that's a demonic spirit or whatever the case may be. But I'm like, I know what I'm able to do. I've dealt with a high priest. I've dealt with high priestess, and things of that nature. And so it's like, I have an understanding of the world around me, and you respect it because, again, just because I don't do what you do, don't mean I need to hate on it or yuck your yum or whatever the case may be. We all have a path that we have to work through. And whatever that path is, I respect it and I go on, because the moment that I get disrespectful, whatever that disrespect is can cause damage to me. Now, if I go to Haiti and I start acting a fool in Haiti, hey, that can cause some damage to me. And I don't need my ancestors or God, anybody else, to be coming barking at my door, because I know what it's like to have bad spirits come at you and you don't know why. Yeah. You know, and I mean, I'm telling you, I've dealt with the Haitians, the Jamaicans, the Creoles, and everything. And someone said to me, they said, you got something on you, and everybody, there's some people around you who have gotten hit or whatever, but it can't touch you. And I'm like, bitch!
What do you say to that?
What is going on? I don't know, but I don't know.
You had some prayer warriors in your life. That's all I'm saying.
My biggest prayer warrior, I think, is my mother. Prays all the time. Hey, I'm gonna go over there right now and ask her after this. Hey, prayer real quick before I travel, you know? I'm serious. As much as I might seem like it seems, I don't want to say foreign, as much as I can't do or replicate what she does, I believe in it, you know? I know she sees things that I can't see, and I believe people have those kind of eyes. As my family like to say, you don't have those eyes yet, or, you know? And I'm like, I don't want those eyes. Keep those eyes. You know what I'm saying?
Like I'm good, son. Good.
You sure
My
what?
friend, she says that my eyes aren't open to what she's
Talking about the third eye?
Yeah, she said my eyes are not open to the spiritual realm.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm talking about. She calls it the underground or something like that. But she was like, once it is,
you'll be moving differently.
You will be moving differently, and you will look at a lot of people differently. And like the way you sleep, it won't even be the same. Like I'm scared of it. I don't even know.
I don't think it shouldn't be feared, because when you understand the natural realm and the spiritual realm, this is like a little, when you understand it, it's like you don't fear a lot of stuff no more. Like you don't fear death. When people call you about certain things, it's like you don't get caught up like other people. They're like, why did you cry? I just have a greater understanding about how things work.
Yes. And that's why, to me, I said I want to focus in my adult life on spirituality and building what that means to me. Because once you do that, you really get in tune with the world around you. You get in touch with your ancestors. You get in touch with just the energies people are giving in your day-to-day life, energies the environment is giving you. And I think that spiritual touch that sometimes shunned in the church is something that can really bring a lot of different just depth to your faith.
You know, the funny thing, I never asked those people who speak in tongues and so forth and can see those things, how did they get to that point? Is there like a boot camp? I'm just wondering. Hold on, okay. But the thing is, I don't know how they get to that point, because what if you want to gain those characteristics?
Lots and lots of suffering.
And it's just, I don't know how they got to that point, and I don't easily.
Sometimes I can only tell you from me, what I did was I had to be ready for whatever came, and I had to be willing to learn and open myself up for understanding, and to be able to do my research and understand exactly what I'm dealing with. When you deal with spirits and people that's praying against you, you got to know how to battle those things. And whether that is, because you ain't gonna just be rebuking those shit now, because rebuking shit ain't gonna work. And pleading the blood, you got to know what you talking to, who you talking to, and what you're dealing with. And so it's just, for people who are spiritually inclined, you just understand it. Like a lot of times, you just, when you be walking somewhere, you just get this feeling like something ain't right. Sometimes you just got to go pray, meditate, turn the meditation music on, and center yourself so that you can get a clear understanding of what exactly is going on around you. Everybody, and this is so, if we ain't did nothing but for tonight, but for this, sometimes you got to center yourself so that you can understand what's going on, so that you know exactly what you're dealing with. Everybody's not going to understand that, because everybody's not going to be in that particular place, spiritually and in life. Spiritually, you have to be able to understand what's going on around you. That's why you handle things differently. That's why you take things differently, because spiritually, you're in a place where I don't deal with this low vibrating people no more. I understand death. I understand life. I understand what the Spirit is giving and what He's taking. And I don't handle things like everybody else handles them. I don't receive things like everybody else receives them. Life, death comes. And where everybody else is falling apart and acting a fool, I understand the Spirit. May come and tell you, hey, somebody finna leave you in the next 3 months. Well, 3 months come along, you know who's about to leave. You emotionally, you handle it differently. You may cry, but you handle it differently because you were prepared. And a lot of people that were in my life that have left and transitioned, I was prepared for it. I still cried, but the transition was a little bit easy because I already knew what was about to take place.
And even like expanding on that, the way that it has been broken down to me, I'm pretty sure we've all heard the term sixth sense, where It's pretty much your intuition that will guide you in specific situations based on your life experience, the experience of others, and what you've pretty much gone through in your life. As you get older, that intuition becomes a little more seasoned. So when stuff like that is about to happen, you tend more inclined to be more intuitive. Or like if there's a situation that you walk into, you know, this isn't safe, I need to take my ass home. That's it speaking to you a little more. I feel like as humans, we all kind of develop this sense throughout life. Some people just have it a little more intense than others do. And, you know, the term third eye is kind of like another name for that. It's that inner intuition that you have. And, you know, it gets cultivated as you get older. Some people get it a lot younger because they experience a lot more when they're younger. I make the joke all the time, but my mom literally knows every fucking thing. And that lady's one of the wisest women that I know, but she went through so much in her life while she was young that now that she is at the age that she's in, it's like she can see everything before it comes. And it's nothing magical. And it's nothing, how can I put it? It's not some cosmic being telling her whatever it is.
Right.
It's the fact that she's had these experiences in her life and she can see when things are coming. She's like, I've experienced this before. This is what this is giving. You should probably be prepared for this. My dumb ass, I don't listen. Months later, it happens. I'm like, shit, you were right. But I'm like, it's even that. And that helps explain it even further.
Yeah, I understand.
Mm-hmm. And you know, some people are just more tapped into that when it comes to dealing with all that, you know, eternal spirituality work. It runs a little deeper than just that.
Workings.
Yes. So, you know, we all have that. We all have that guiding force, whatever you want to refer to it as.
What do you want to say?
No, I'm thinking about growing up.
I used to have very vivid dreams, very vivid, very scary dreams, and they would come true. So I backed away from it. I made sure that I didn't want to have to deal with that. Like I didn't want to explore it any further. So I stopped having those dreams. But I do agree with you. It is sometimes intuition, but sometimes it might be somebody telling me something. Sometimes my mom will wake up and she's like, I had a dream this happened, and it is happening in my life. I lie to her and say, no, it's not, but it is. And I'm like, somebody told her something. Like there's no, like, it's not, she really did just take a nap. Like she had no idea. Like she took a nap and she woke up and she felt it.
You remember when we were with, I had my niece with me, you asked her, was she a clairvoyant? Like sometimes some kids, they just have certain things. When I was younger, it was certain things that it was just on me and I didn't understand what was going on when I was younger. Everybody has a level of something in their life. And some people are just regular. You ever seen the movie Magicians? I mean, the TV show on Netflix called Magicians. I love stuff like that because everybody has a level of something. It's not about magic, but it's just about just the power that's within you and whatever yours is, that's yours. And I think that because this conversation has went from something to something else. I think that there is a group of people that, whether spiritually or mentally, whatever, physically, we're able to deal with certain things and direct certain things certain ways. Like even when it comes to our culture, we're able to just redirect some things, and we have that power to do that. We just have to realize how do we cultivate it and make that move.
I don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that?
I don't want to do that. Yeah, I did. My ignorance is bliss, and I love it. Child, I don't want to know shit. And that's ironic coming from me.
It's not good. Right.
Listen, ignorant people are the happiest, peaceful people I've ever met. They don't know shit. They don't want to know shit.
You're not ignorant. You just want to be ignorant. You just want to be ignorant.
Yeah, I want to be child. It's a peaceful life, you know?
But you know, even though that you want to be ignorant, there's just certain things that just won't leave you alone.
Yeah.
You like, can you please?
Okay.
Leave me alone.
Like when something when I watch a scary movie and I'm like, I'm not supposed to believe in it because it's not real. And then, like, when I watch a scary movie with spirits, I get scared because I think
13 ghosts scared the hell out of
baby, I think they're gonna walk through the TV and come in my house. Because sometimes if you believe in it enough,
I don't like playing with it.
And you can't.
But hold on. So hold on.
I do not like playing with it.
So hold on. I can't help it. All right. Something as blatant as the new Sabrina on Netflix has spiritually has my mother just taking up the remote and just turning it off. I can't help it. It's just.
I'm gonna tell you something. Certain movies, people don't understand this. No, listen. Certain movies, it's not just a movie.
It is.
It's really something going on. I forgot what movie it was. It was something I was watching, and I couldn't watch it because it was like it's really something taking place in this film, and I can't deal with that.
And these are actual portals. I want to say you're inviting that in your household, and all the chantings and all the sayings. Heck, they had. I don't know. Just if you just look at if somebody had the what they call the scripts of Sabrina, and just read the scripts of each line of everybody says, and you see what they actually say. It's so mind blowing, and it had me turning down the volume, muting it while watching it because I'm like, I don't want that saying in my room, and that's of course I don't want to invite that shit in my house. I can't help it. I was growing up in the antiness of what they're presenting on Netflix in the Sabrina show, and I was just so spiritually unsettled until I just had to give it up. And I love sci-fi, I love fiction, but I just had to. The spiritual part of me said turn it off, and I never went back. I couldn't do it. And it was a good show. It's a good show.
And I'm going to challenge you with this.
Challenge.
Was it because you were taught to think that way, or did you actually feel that way?
I actually feel that way.
Because you were taught to feel that way?
No, I actually felt spiritually uneasy, but I was also taught that way. And what they were presenting was the anti to what I felt like and was taught about. See, what I was taught, I accept at a portion. I took the chicken off the bone and put it into my own. Like I said, I've drifted away from that. So I've developed into what I am today. But what I am today, it was challenging that, and I wasn't easy. I wasn't at ease with it. So even though I was taught from it, I did take the time to step away from the church, learn myself and what I want from it. And man, I love Sabrina, the show from when I was a kid. But the new one, man.
And see, even with that, because
hey, then you know what they say in there.
But yes, but see, I'm all.
Hey, what they saying?
Let me finish.
I'm just saying.
When it comes to learning about different religions, I've always looked at it from a scholastic standpoint. Yeah. I looked at each religion objectively, and what they were actually depicting in the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. For those of you who've never watched it, the first season they depict a version of a satanic witch. So basically, they are witches that are essentially worshiping the fallen angel that is Lucifer. Believe it or not, Lucifer and Satan, not the same thing. Eventually, they got merged because the folklore got mixed in the crosshairs. That's hidden, neither here nor there. But as that series progressed, you see how they slowly break away from that and how was something that was taught to them and very male dominated, and they found empowerment in breaking away from that, which is why I think that show to me was so powerful, because it showed that, okay, this is an extreme religion that, believe it or not, is quite recent. Satanism, quite recent religion, isn't that old. And how they broke away from that and started worshiping the divine femininity within themselves, which I thought to me, so romantic. So I mean, I think that's what made that show so powerful. The first season, and yeah, they are saying a lot of Latin, a lot of other stuff. But to me, I'm like, it's just words. Words inherently have power that we assign them to. Yeah. As someone who's a writer, a poet, whatever, that's pretty much what I was taught growing up. We assign, powers to specific words.
And I think what you said there, you assign powers. I think I was unconsciously giving them power, and I couldn't help it. Hence, I had to turn it off.
Yeah,
it was just affecting me like that, and I couldn't let the words, because, like, I read the Bible, and I was even telling a friend the other day, try to read it without emotion. Just read it stoically, and see what you get from it, and try to put your teachings aside and just read and learn. for learning purposes, like on a scholarly base. But it's going to come to a point where your teaching is going to kick in, and how you feel about certain things in the Bible, emotion is going to start driving it to a point like, I don't like that, or I don't agree with that. That's not good. And you have to step aside again, put that teaching aside, and just read it as is, and not start to divide things of what you feel is good, what you feel is bad. And I know that's what you're coming off of with the Sabrina thing, and I would love to, and that's what I want to do. But like I said, spiritually, my spirit wouldn't let me.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time. It takes practice. Like I wouldn't
history
even.
lesson on that in a second after she gets done.
I wouldn't even suggest it's how you grow up. Like it takes time to break away from that, to look at something objectively. Like to be able to do something like that, you need the skill to do that.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people are taught to do that. So like the first time I watched Sabrina, I was hella scared. I was like under the covers, like Lucifer better not walk in my house because he looked like he stank. That's how he like goat face and everything. Nah, that was a little uncomfortable, you know. But like sometimes you do unconsciously give these things power. Sometimes it really does. Like it scares the living bejesus out of you, and then you're thinking about it all night. And when you're thinking about it all night, then you start dreaming about the shit, and then you have a demon sitting on your chest because that's how you just went down the rabbit hole. Like you opened yourself up to believing it. And sometimes like learning to close yourself off to certain things and just being objective is a learned skill that not everybody's taught. So I think it I wish I could do that.
That's a level I want to do, because it's one thing, you gotta learn about your enemies, right? Your enemies, and I call that my enemy, and I want to slowly learn about it. But with that comes a risk of affecting me spiritually, and that's what I don't know how to separate yet, and hence I stepped away. You know what I'm saying? So I do like what you do in terms of you can separate it, but you know what I'm saying? Based on how I was raised, it's hard for me to separate it, hence I had to, you know. But I do like what you do for it. Yeah. I like it. It takes guts, because that show is not easy to watch, especially coming from a household, like I said, a mom speaking in tongues, writing on the walls.
On the wall.
Yeah, it's not something I can just sit down and like, okay, because my room is all, I turn my room red.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know my room. I turn my room red. You know what I'm saying? I have the whole ambiance. But with that, all that coming up, I had to like, all right, white. You know what I'm saying? Turn that down, put on some TED Talk. Chilling.
So let me turn on this.
You know what I'm saying?
Your room is red?
Yeah.
I think it's red lighting.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I pretty much learned to do that because I've always done deep dives when it came to like specific religious aspects. I've always liked to like the origin of things, where they come from. I've had to take on that objective mindset when learning about stuff like that. I saw, I'm kind of going to segue into this other thing because I read in the comments, because I mentioned earlier how Satan and Lucifer originally were not the same thing. Just to give a brief history lesson on that, like there's like a whole, if you really want to dive into like the folklore of like demonology and demons and spirits and what they are, within hell, you know, different depictions of hell, it's broken down as in different sections. In each of these sections, specific demons reside. Like there's a hierarchy of demons. There's actually a hierarchy of angels too.
That I know of, yeah.
Yes. So originally, the term Satan was used to refer to the general of hell that controlled hell's army. Was known as Satan. Was a completely separate demon from the Lucifer that we know now. As you know, as things progressed, they became one and the same thing because the whole idea of Lucifer being the person in charge of hell, it was only natural that he would command hell's army too. So they kind of got merged into the same being over time, if you follow the folklore. I like to call it that, like I said, from a scholastic standpoint. But yeah, that's why Lucifer and Satan are essentially not the same being. But people fail to realize God created heaven and hell. God controls hell. Lucifer does not control hell. Lucifer is a prisoner of hell. This being is a fallen angel that has no power, canonically speaking. It was assigned power as a means of controlling people and giving them something to fear. Like I said, if you follow it. But yes, someone mentioned in the comments
That's an interesting standpoint.
Yes, someone mentioned it within the comments. I love her to death. I can't remember her name, how they are perceived as the same being. But originally they were not perceived as the same being. Yeah, and I would encourage anyone to do a deep dive into that and just look at it
Go ahead, Just.
Yes.
Come back with the summary. I can't.
Yeah, I mean, but it's really interesting if you follow it. And even the archangels, they're not considered like the highest being an angel. It goes a little further up. Biblically, like described angels look monstrous.
Angels do not look like what is depicted. They look really.
Well, they did say do not fear. Usually when the angels approach, they say, do not fear me.
Yes, because they look fucking scary.
Well, see, and then also if you look at in Genesis, it talked about how the angels or the nobility came down from heaven and had sex with the angel, with the women, men, and the animals, and they considered that bestiality because they considered the angels to be beasts. Now, what we think of angels or what we see as angels, it's like a human form of a human or something like that. No, that's not. Yeah.
Yeah, these long beings with long hair and like fluttering wings. Child, I just didn't look like that. But yes, the Bible does depict Lucifer as becoming Satan after his fall from earth. Yes. If you could dig a little further back, pre-Bible though, Satan is described as a different entity. I definitely point you in the right direction. But yeah.
Like, give a book.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you something. I have books in here. I have the Sefer. I have the Tanakh. I have all those things because I had to go down a rabbit hole
and read for yourself.
Yeah.
Huh?
See,
You have to read for yourself.
read for yourself. I feel guilty. I feel guilty reading for myself.
No. I promise you, when you read for yourself, you'll be like, "What the fuck is going on here?" When I read,
hold on, reading the Bible. That was me.
Yes,
like,
I feel like questioning the religion you grew up with,
yes,
like questioning all these things. I feel so guilty.
They cherry pick so many spots within the Bible to teach you how to live your life as a Christian. And I said, have you just asked the person, did you read from cover to cover and understood for yourself?
I did this because being a same-gender loving man, I wanted to know what God had to say about me.
Yeah, so you read for yourself.
And when I went through there, I was like, I did not know this was here.
Yeah.
I did not know that Daniel had sex with the prince of the eunuchs. When I really fully read about Daniel and Jonathan, I was like, daughter, they was not brothers or not. They was lovers. Ruth and Naomi. All of these things in the Bible. And even when Jesus talked about what he thought about marriage and what he said about the eunuchs and everything like that, we've been taught so many crazy things, but at the end of the day, the Bible covers everything, but it's also been convoluted and changed at the same time because it's been changed to control. And so that's the crazy part about it. When I went through the whole rabbit hole with the lineage of Jesus, I said, now, wait a minute. So you mean to tell me that y'all using somebody else's lineage to try to say something else up in here? When I tell you, I was so dumbfounded. And to say this stuff to regular church people, oh, that is the devil. But I'm like, this is not what it's saying right here in the Bible. We're reading something that's not what it's supposed to be. How can Joseph be Jesus' daddy when you said that the Holy Ghost impregnated Mary? So where we get Joseph from? That's not his line. And if he is in the line of David, then we got to look at Mary. And what we have to understand is when it comes down to the Hebrew cultural standpoint from lineages or whatever, they typically look at the man, not the woman. But in the Bible, it went back to Mary's lineage, and Mary's lineage went back to David. It's a lot of, when I say I went down through there and I was like,
there's a lot of descendants in there, and it's hard to keep track of because they were having, like I said, 70 kids and they were living 300 something years old. I was like, and that was just.
Didn't you say something about that?
About what?
People living to be about 300, 400, 500 years old.
I was like, what the hell?
I believe this is a decrease
in generations of children.
Yeah, a lot of kids. I think it was something about God said you will no longer have the longevity of life as man good like Adam or Eve or something like that. So
and because they disobeyed, they were only going to live like 125 years.
Yeah, so over time they started to decrease from 700 to 500 to 300 to to 100 and something, and even then they were having kids over like over 100 and something years they were having kids, and even then they were acknowledging it in the Bible like, I'm so old I can't give you a child, and they still got a child. And it was just a lot of odd stuff on these like, crazy ages you'd never expect, and it was hard to keep track of all these kids and all these pivotal moments that are well known in the Bible to create history. And I had to just so many names, man, and the names are so simple. For example, the kid that laughs, but in Hebrew it's one word, and it's as simple as that. They just give a kid a name, like you have a black skin. You have black skin. They give you a Hebrew that translates to black skin. That's the name of the child. And there's so many names and descendants and things they've done. And I'm like, how can you have so many kids? And even though God said we'll have as many kids as the sand in the sea, and go forth, and they will have all these land and all these treasures and all that stuff. And you know what I'm saying? He said that to so many people in Genesis. I'm like, how are all these people just not related and just, you know what I'm saying? Royalty, like I described earlier, happening. You just, you know what I'm saying? It's just so hard. I don't know who keeps track of it. All those names, it's crazy.
It's a lot, and even like with the Bible itself, it just seems like, well, obviously a whole book in the beginning got like scratched, so it seems like you kind of jump forward to what's going on.
Yeah.
So you got all these descendants and all these people, but wait a minute, we started off with Adam and Eve. Where do all these other people come from? So I mean,
where did this other tribe of people come from?
They had kids, and their kids married each other. That's what I thought. That's how I thought. Because they was the only people, and they had kids,
and that's how
and their kids had to reproduce.
That was one of the first questions that came to mind when I was watching it or when I was reading it, and I was like, where did all people come from? Like,
you married them.
I thought, it came from.
There was a book describing where they came from. It just got scratched.
Well,
there's a lot of questions and holes you can poke, but that's taboo.
Well, listen, everybody. I want to just say thank you all. Shoot, I hit the wrong button. I want to say thank you all so much for being here tonight. We will have to eventually probably do a part 2 to this because this has been great. We'll just have better internet and cameras and stuff, whatever. But anyways, I want to just say thank you to Dominique. Thank you to Jasmine. Thank you to, I was about to call you Markoven. Marvin. Marvin, yeah. Cadin. Thank you, everybody. Theo is not here tonight. I don't know what happened, but he's not here. But thank you all so much for being with us tonight. Thank you all. On that note, listen, you can always support the channel. Make sure you share. Make sure you like and subscribe. All of those great things. And on that note, listen, do you guys have anything that you want to say before we leave out of here?
Do a deep dive. Like, I feel like I got my eyes open when I finally decided to dig in myself. And just kind of stepping away from what you've been taught in these organized spaces, and just literally looking at it from a scholastic standpoint and just learning. Because it's fascinating if you really dive deep into it. Hey, you learn a lot of stuff that you never knew before.
I like what you said. I also want to say, question your leaders if you are in organized religion. Question them because they went to school for this. They learned it too. They had to do their reading. They had to do papers on it. Question them because they probably don't know what they're talking about.
Period.
Same thing as before. I'll say read the Bible from front to back. Hey, I just finished Genesis.
And get the rest of the books too.
You know what I'm saying? Yes. I'll definitely look for more. I think I'm reading the Old Testament. And
I got a 1611 Bible in my room.
When I finish,
Like from the year?
From what?
The year 1611.
And that's the thing. I'm gonna jump into that.
It does not read like the regular Bible.
But I would say read the Bible from front to back. And it's not a race, it's a journey. Obviously, a spiritual journey. You got the rest of your life. to read this. Read like a couple, like, you know what I'm saying? 2 pages a day.
The
It ain't
Bible
gonna hurt.
comes in audiobook versions.
That too. Just read it from front to back and see for yourself, because I'm sure a lot of them out there love to preach and they ain't reading it, or not even
They
practicing.
said we should do a
Read for
part
yourself.
2.
So that's all I'm saying. Read the Bible, man. Check it out.
Dominique.
Yeah, I mean,
That's Jasmine.
Yeah, it's good. The biggest thing for me is like doing whatever you need to do to stay spiritually grounded and really heal if you experience a lot of like just negative experiences or trauma in the spaces that we're raised in, so that you can come back into the space just in a better place and more centered. That's a big thing.
Well, I am so grateful that everybody was here on tonight. I'm very happy that, we got a chance to do this tonight. Thank y'all so much. You said, please do a part 2. We're going to try to arrange that and have everybody else here. Maybe even have some new people. But anyways, thank y'all so much. And on that note, we are up out of here. And we want you guys to have a wonderful night. It's midnight now. So anyways, have a good night. Talk to you guys later. Peace out.